Hey everybody, it's Matt Shu from Upright Health. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the absolute worst thing you can do for your shoulder pain. So, if you're somebody who's working out a bunch and your shoulder just like aches and you just don't know what's going on, or you're somebody who doesn't work out a lot and you're just sitting around at your desk and you just feel like, man, something is going on here. It doesn't feel right. My shoulder's not sitting in the right position. Then this video is very important for you to watch. The reason I've made this video and the reason why I'm talking about this is because I've made the mistake I'm going to show you, and it was not a fun experience. So just a little bit of background. When I was in college way back when, I actually hurt my shoulder while I was snowboarding. I was just in the middle of a jump. I was learning how to do the half pipe on the snowboard. I've never gotten that good at it, but I was trying to learn for the first time. So I went up, I jumped, I twisted, and while I was in midair, before I landed, no impact, nothing, my shoulder went doop, and I just felt this clunk in the shoulder, and then I felt searing pain just like all around the shoulder and also coming all the way down my back. So for you anatomy geeks out there, you'll notice that I pointed the front and I pointed all the way down here, which is like the lat muscle, which comes from here and then goes down through the armpit and down into the lower back. So something there went funny. My whole shoulder felt horrible, and I fell face down into the snow, and I was just screaming obscenities into the snow. The shoulder didn't really get better, so I took anti-inflammatories, I went to the doctor, I went to PT, I went to chiropractors, I went to massage therapists, all this stuff. For several months after the initial injury, I kept revisiting my doctor, and I was told I had bursitis. I did PT, did some like banded exercises, and they had me do some rotator cuff exercises, and it just didn't feel right. And so I decided to take things into my own hands. This is where my whole journey of like trying to fix things with my shoulder really began, and it didn't go too well. All right, so let's talk about the big mistake. So the big mistake I made was thinking that I could get this problem to fix itself super quickly. So I was thinking about a movie I had seen. So if you've seen Lethal Weapon, the old Lethal Weapon movies with Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, you may remember that Mel Gibson's character had a shoulder problem. He had a trick shoulder, and so anytime it went out in the movie, he would have to reset his shoulder. And so I felt like my shoulder was out of place. I felt like it wasn't sitting in the right position. So I thought, well, maybe this is like Mel Gibson in that movie. So maybe if I do what he did, maybe I can get my shoulder to sit back in the right position, since everything else I'm doing is not working. So the first thing I did was mimic one scene where Mel Gibson basically jams his shoulder, if I remember correctly, into a bathroom stall door. So I was in my dorm room at the time, and I was like, okay, well, this shoulder is my right shoulder, doesn't feel right, so I'm gonna try to jam it into place. So it was a heavy wood door, and I just went wham right into the door. And so if you know your anatomy, you know there's like a bony part here called the acromion process, which is part and parcel of what goes on with your shoulder. There's muscles and stuff all around here, and if your deltoid is not well developed, that acromion process is going to be super naked. It's really easy to feel that bone running into wood. And at the time, I had really just not been able to do any exercise for my shoulder, so I didn't have much deltoid left there, and wham, 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 I went into it twice, and I was like, okay, I don't think that's going to solve my problem, and it hurt. I thought, well, maybe the wood is too hard. Maybe I should do this in the bathroom. And then I thought, well, I don't really want to do this in the bathroom. People are going to hear me in the hallway, in the communal bathroom. People are going to hear me running into the thing, and I might get in trouble for breaking the wall, so I'm just not going to do that. So let me do the other thing that Mel Gibson did in that movie. So what was the second thing that I learned from Mel Gibson in that movie? Well, if ramming his shoulder into the bathroom stall wall was not an option, what he would do was grab his humerus, the upper arm bone, and then yank so that the arm would be reset, or the shoulder would be reset. So I want to be really clear I really don't think it's a good idea to make decisions based on what you see in the movies. At the time, I was pretty desperate and I just wanted a solution for my shoulder instability and pain. And so I figured, well, the door's not working, so let's just grab here. So I was standing next to my bed and I grabbed my humerus and I just went, and the pain was really extraordinary. So I hope that most of you, all of you, never have to experience this kind of pain. There was a squelching noise inside the shoulder, and it just felt like I had like shot myself inside my brain. It was extremely painful. And I just fell over onto my bed and it was kind of a repeat of what I had done in the snow. I was just cussing and just letting loose with obscenities and crying into the bed because it really hurt. And I had this extra regret on top of it because I was the one who did it to myself. At this point, it should be pretty clear that I do not suggest people follow the Mel Gibson strategy for shoulder pain. It is not all that effective, and I also suggest that you not assume you're going to fix your own body's issues, your movement issues, your pain issues quickly and rapidly, but rather that you will have to learn things about your body over time. So, my biggest mistake was thinking, I'm just gonna knock this out and it's gonna be no problem. I'm just gonna yank things into position and I'll be good to go. That was the underlying philosophical mistake that I hope you don't make. That said, some things do resolve fairly quickly when you learn how to train your body better, when you learn how to move better, when you learn how to give your muscles the thing that they need, then your body can feel actually pretty good pretty quickly. So with that in mind, I just wanted to share some things that actually ended up helping me, and these are exercises that we have in the Shoulder Fix program. So all you need is a lacrosse ball, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna do some massage on the front of your shoulder and through the pecs. So remember I said my shoulder felt like it was yanked forward. Well, if my shoulder is being yanked forward, what I need to do to get it to go back is to make sure I address some of the muscles that could possibly be yanking the shoulder forward. So if I take this ball and I start working it all around the anterior deltoid, the pectoralis major and minor, and also just basically through here where the lat attaches and the anterior delt also is there, I can start helping myself set the shoulder back. So it's pretty simple to do. You just get up against the wall like so, and you can adjust your level of pressure based on how far away your feet are. So if I want to lean more in, I can be like this. If I have my feet closer, it's not so intense. So I'm just going to show you that. So this is when I'm leaning in pretty hard. I've got my feet a couple of feet from the wall, or maybe about 2/3 of a meter if you like the metric system, like the rest of the world. And what you can do is just kind of find those tough spots, those little knots in the front area. So I was just working my pec major here. You can work all along the front here, right? All this stuff is fair game. Just looking for stuff that feels like it is tender and that it is like tight, dense muscle. Now, the thing to remember here is that you don't want to be trying to push this super hard. The idea is not to crush things. The idea is to actually let the muscle relax. So that means if I'm this close and just that little bit of pressure already feels like it's pretty tender, then that's fine. I don't need to back up and just try to like do a 1 rep max into the wall. I just need to let the muscles here realize that they can relax a little bit under pressure, right? And gradually over time, you may feel like, oh, okay, I can put a little more pressure in. That helps my muscle relax a little bit more. But you're not trying to destroy things, right? And you're never going to make muscles feel like, soft sponges. That's just not going to happen, and certainly not around their tendinous insertions. So you're just looking to get these muscles to, just relax a little bit, okay? We're not trying to crush things, so stop trying to destroy everything that's in your shoulder. Once we've got that loosened up, you can just check after that, just see how it feels. I've been spending a lot of time in front of the computer, and that makes my shoulder just feel so good. The other thing that you can do is something that I've found quite helpful recently is, especially if you do a lot of pull-ups, you do a lot of rows, you have some things going on with the lats, you can use the ball right up against the wall to get into the lats and triceps. So if you remember the story way back at the beginning of this video, you remember that I said, my lats were like on fire after I jacked up my shoulder. So one of the things that can be real helpful is just working into the armpit like this, and also even up into the triceps if you've got tension up in there as well. But right in here into the armpit and going lower, you're going to be getting into the lats. You'll get serratus anterior. You'll get all kinds of fun little muscles. You can start rolling to the back here, just like so, right around the shoulder blade. Again, we're not trying to jam things and crush things. We're just trying to basically bring your attention to areas where the muscles are not relaxing, and then seeing if we can hang out on them and teach those muscles how to relax. So we're just hanging out just in there, looking for some tender stuff. Also, while you're here, you're gonna wanna check out that rotator cuff area, because that gets just gnarly, definitely on me and on a lot of other people I've seen. So just leaning into that, finding those muscles, finding the really, 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 really lit up ones, especially in the rotator cuff. You're gonna find some that just go zing and sing and dance and talk to you. So be mindful there. Again, you're not trying to crush super hard. You're just trying to get those muscles to learn how to relax. And after you do that, you can test things out again, just see how it feels. Generally, you want to do things like this for 1-2 minutes, and as you get better at these things and you learn your own body's limits, then you could go potentially longer and see how that feels as you go each session. So we never suggest anybody with any exercise, whether it's push-ups, squats, doing tissue work, we never suggest that people go in and do it like as hard as possible the first time. You want to gradually learn your limits and understand how these things affect your body. All right, guys, that is going to do it for this video. So key takeaways. Number one, do not follow the Mel Gibson strategy for shoulder pain. It's just not a great idea. Probably not going to work so well if my story is any indication. Second takeaway is to think about long-term fixes rather than quick fixes. Quick fixes are nice. If you can get a quick fix while also having a good long-term solution, that's fine. But if you start getting locked into this mentality of like short-term result, you can really start making risky decisions that don't turn out so well. So if you're looking for a program to help you understand your shoulder, understand how to gradually train your shoulder, definitely check out the Shoulder Fix. You'll find a link in the description section. If you liked this video, make sure you click the like button and subscribe for more videos from Upright Health. And if you know anybody who loves Lethal Weapon and has shoulder pain, make sure you share this video with them right now so they don't make the same mistake that I did. And finally, I've just shared with you some lessons that I learned about my shoulder through trial and error. So I'd like to hear, what have you learned about your shoulders? Share your lessons and your wisdom in the comment section below so the whole world gets to learn a little bit more together. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for your support. And as always, please remember that pain sucks. Life shouldn't.